there's 200. A couple of boxes anyway, but well, we'll get some parts and pieces and show you what I've been up to. I don't know if this camera is going to show you very well, but we'll see what we can do. But I got some goodies to do. Try and find the right fittings, the right clamps, because this is a different type of hose. I mean, the hose was broken, so it was no good. That one's going to be big enough. Oh, it might not be big enough. Hopefully. Let's try it. Oh, you seen me put up my water tank and stuff, so we're working on a different water solution that hoping it'll work. For those of you that are not that familiar with my channel, I've done some different things here at the homestead in the past, and so I won't bore you with putting all that together, but I got a hose all strung through the bush. Yeah, well, you can kind of see I have some goodies here behind me. Pump, hoses. So when I started the homestead and I had big equipment here, I dug in a well that's 15 feet deep. So there's a lot of salt in this water, but there's a fair bit of water down there. So I just stick the hose down the hole, and we're going to fire up the pump, and then we're going to take this hose and we'll show you in a minute what we're going to do. Oh, we're going to take this end. I had to swedge from fire hose, 1.5 inches, thread it up, 2 inch. I just find all the right connectors, so a little bit of a conglomeration there, but got a couple old hoses that I patched up here, old fire hoses, and so our hose continues on. And let's just go for a little walk through the bush. About spare lawnmower, parts, another hose. Oh, and these here, they go together like this. You just give her a twist. Should be good, I think. They lock pretty good. Oh, let's go see if the pump is done. Oh, we got it running. We better go see. Yes, I have a hose coming way over here to the water tank, but it's a little long, so I'm hoping this is going to work. It's got a pump quite a ways away, so hopefully that'll stay in there. Oh, the hose back. We should be building up a little pressure. I might have to rev her up a little. Oh, hose filled up. Oh, we got well water. Yes, that'll help out the storage tank. Just like this dirt's pretty loose, I shoveled it all in here, so I was saying I'm gonna get it soaked up really good, let that all kind of settle down in for a day. This will dry up pretty quick on top, and then I will get the carrots and peas planted. So yeah, looks like a lot of water, but that soil's pretty dry down in there, so we're gonna soak it up, get some sub-moisture in, and now I get my gardens going. Well, we get progress in the kids' greenhouse. It's looking pretty good. Got the rafters up, got the braces in. A little bit more to do. Get the door framed in over there and a window framed in at this end, and we'll be ready to put some plastic on it. But I give them a hand whenever I can for a few hours, and I got a million things to try and do, so I'm trying to work on some other things, and we'll get it all together. We'll show you a little along the way. It's just a part of my everyday life. Get it done. Reverse. Yeah, we're going to see the little girl do the job this year. She fired up, so let's see. Can I see what I'm killing? That's going to take a little while. I got to go down and back, so we'll get her ripped up, and I go try different things, different ways, but I really found it's just a little bit less work. I'm not going digging holes, you know, I'm by myself. Two people, just go dig some holes. One person put potatoes in, cover them up. But these ones, I got some fairly good sprouts on them already. I usually don't plant them when they're that long, but I used to sprout them and then plant them. But the bigger ones I cut in half. You buy seed potatoes. This year I'm going to plant some red Pontiac. They're a pretty decent potato. And so you want to see what I do is I just place them approximately 16 inches apart, cut side down. I don't do anything fancy about digging holes or anything like that, but when I dig my rows, I dig the whole row. I don't just dig where each potato plant is, because they spread out, and you generally wind up with potatoes you miss if you don't dig the whole row. So I'll bounce you around. I'm just trying to show you a little bit kind of what I am doing here. But my soil's very loose. I've been working this and keeping the weeds out and adding a little compost. Always spreading. I have part of my garden that I don't work, so that's usually where I scrape out all my potato peelings and stuff like that, kind of rots through the winter, and work it in the soil. And yeah, so we're going to get the rest of these in, and you guys can come back and check it out this fall, see how they're doing, and see whether my method works. I done it kind of the same way last year, so it turned out very well. And doing it this way, most areas you only have a few inches of good topsoil, and then you have clay underneath. So if you dig down a hole through the topsoil and put your potato with the clay, of course you're going to have a hard time digging them in the fall. You have a dry year, it's a little hard, or so maybe get bored with me planting potatoes, but that's in a row. I'm supposed to keep track. I'm trying to cut back. 6 years ago, I had planted 500 hills. So I did some sales at the time there, farmers market, stuff like that, but I don't have to get up. I got too many things to do and start running out of energy, burning myself out. So I'm cutting back. I cut down to 250 hills, and then down to 125, about 110 last year. And so this year I'm going to cut back a little more, but that's I must have had a little sip this morning before he made that row. It's kind of weaving and wobbling, but that's okay. Potatoes don't care. We're just going to go and cover them up. You only want about 3 inches of dirt on top of your potatoes, so this is all I thing in there like that. Rake works good. Dirt's very loose. Rake wider than a hole. And I tamp the soil down. It's very loose right now, so tamp it down so it don't dry out. Tamp it. Wound up with only maybe 1.5 inches of dirt on there, and I just pull a little from the other side. You really don't have to work your whole garden if you don't want to. You're just making weeds grow, but if you water it that way anyways, you know, I will leave this. Once they start growing and I'm going to hill them, then I'll do a really good tilling on each side, so I have really nice dirt for hilling with, nice and soft, because if it gets rained on and whatnot, you know, it just starts to get hard. So you'll see I just have a little ridge where the potatoes are at, and tamp it down, and then we're going to watch them grow. So I'm going to get the rest of them all covered up, and I got these are from Mackenzie Seeds. This is just your yellow onions. I like my onions, so try and show you kind of how I plant mine usually. I don't know, there's about 200. I think there's 200, a couple of boxes anyway, but I space them out a little bit and just stagger them. Make sure there's room so it's easy to kind of weed around them. Put them about 6 inches apart and just plant 2 rows about 6 inches apart. And I actually make a little bit of a ridge of dirt here. Kind of see there's a little ridge. I rototilled and then I pull the soil in, because you don't want your onions drying out, but you also don't want your onions with too much dirt piled around. They don't perform. The skins don't do what they're supposed to do. So a lot of times when you plant peas, or you know, people plant peas, they'll put 2 rows close together and put a wire so the peas can climb. Well, I plant my onions. They don't need wire to climb up, but I just put a couple rows. Takes a little less garden space, and so it's about 5.5, 6 inches between, and then I offset them, and I'm not sure how many I put in there. I'm not sure how many potatoes I planted. I was going to count them and I forgot. But you can see I just leave their nose stick up a little bit. That one's a little high. This dirt, when we get a little rain, it's going to pack down a little bit, and then they'll be just right. So, oh, we're going to throw some potatoes in there, onions in here. We got to work up a couple more rows, maybe one only. This is my other little patch here beside the greenhouse. So right at the back, I had potatoes in here last year, and they did very well. So we're just going to get the rest of these onions I have here, get them planted. I don't go too far, I guess, about there. Stick in. So I'll get them in the ground and be able to compare. This is a little different soil over here, not quite as rich, more just natural. I haven't put a lot of compost. I have spread some leaves when I was pulling the grass, and that picks up some leaves and stuff. I guess it just worked out to put 3 rows. I just put 3 rows all side by side, 6 to 8 inches apart. So make it easier here for picking weeds. It's level. Don't need those little rocks in here. Always find a few. It's garden patch is only 3 years that I've been using this little patch. So pumpkins did well, potatoes did well. So I think if we get a little bit of rain, onions should do well. Well, I'm going to go with potatoes to get some potatoes in there. Well, that should be all the space I need for potatoes. So let's go get some potatoes and get them planted. Well, see what we got. Plant these ones a little further apart, and I did not cut them. These are just my own seed. I had quite a few sprouts, but another nice row, probably good. So actually we're going to put, there's 24, I had 37 hills in the other side and 24 white ones here, and only got 10 red ones. The other end of the row is there's quite a bit of clay there, so I'm not going to go all the way down. Good enough, I think there'll be plenty, unless they don't grow at all. But so that's my potato farm. Yeah, it's going to be a smaller farm this year. I'm going to just count them all up, and I'm going to say that I'm under 100 hills. So that means I cut back. So as long as they do good. I have lots of potatoes. I'll catch up with you guys on the other side of the garden. Well, the cucumbers are coming. One there, one there, one there, one there, one there, and there, and there. A couple that are not up yet. Another one. And we actually had pretty good success rate with tomatoes. So that's not a tomato, that's a weed. But there's 3 little guys. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There's one missing. It didn't grow. Or the guy that planted it too deep. Couple more nice little guys. That's hard to see. Oh, you see me use the rake a lot because it's a little wider and it's just nice to level things with. You want to make a little ditch. Just be careful. You know, that's works pretty good. I'm going to plant carrots, peas, radishes. So these different varieties I have, but they're hard planting carrots on a windy day, and it's pretty windy. So we're gonna tackle it. I'm gonna try and sprinkle them so they're not too thick. And that's, I don't like to plant them thick and then try and thin them out. I try to, you know, when price it is for a package of seeds, you want to try and use the seeds that are in there. So we'll see if we can just start doing it without the wind affecting it too bad. Oh, Mr. Ladybug just came. So we're going to just put him in the dirt. We're going to let him wander around. Hopefully he'll stick around and clean up all aphids and all those good things. So these planters, I'm about 32 inches high, and depending on how tall you are, I'm 5'8½". So this is pretty nice, and you know, the dirt is 4 feet wide. Planter's 5 feet total, so you can reach halfway real easy, and even for weeding and stuff. But my carrots, I only make my row about 3/4 of an inch deep. The peas, you see, I got a little bit deeper, about an inch, and then this is pretty loose dirt, so by the time you pack it down, there's not much. By the time I plant the carrots and I tap it down a little bit, I'm only going to have probably 3/8 of an inch of dirt, less than half. But it's fairly breezy, so I'm going to try and do this. I got to put a weight on this so it don't blow away. Put a dirt lump on the carrots. I just take a little pinch in my finger is the easiest way, and you can just wiggle your fingers back and forth, and even then it's hard. You got to kind of keep moving your hand. So you get too many in one spot, it's easy to brush them just a little. But if you don't plant them too thick, it's just no thinning out, and they do very well. So I'm hoping that I turned all this dirt by moving it and stuff like that. I'm really hoping that I didn't bring a whole bunch of weed seeds to the surface that are going to grow, because it's been really good. Been very few weeds to pick out. You just walk around, pick the odd little weed, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, this carrot seed is so... Yeah, we got the carrots all covered up. I patted them all down nice. I put my peas in generally about 5 inches apart. There, the peas are all covered. Just see how level the dirt is when I start watering, if it all runs one direction or not. It should gently run that way. It should. But well, we're going to just take you around here. We got some, I'm going to cheat here. This radishes, they come single, or you can buy radishes in a strip. Yeah, so you don't plant them too thick. Radishes about 4, sometimes 5 times a year. If you do it now, radishes come on fairly quick. Oh, we can get to the end of it here. So, there you are. So they just have the seeds in the cloth already, so it's kind of spaced out, and you can just unroll it. And a little later, like I usually do, there's a dotted line you can follow. You pull it apart, and you just lay it in the hole. Don't need much. Same thing here. We're just going to have about 3/8 of an inch of dirt on top. And then we're going to tap it down and firm the soil up just like we did with the last. Just get that in down in there. Now, I should tell you, really, with peas, going back to the peas, the years past I used to always soak my peas overnight. They germinate a little faster, but then I just found that I'm really, I'm planting my garden early enough that I don't really need them to germinate in 3 days time. But if you go to plant more, and again peas, you can plant and then just wait about 2 weeks and plant some more, and then they don't all come on at the same time, and then you're trying to pick peas and do other things. So just plant your peas, wait 2 weeks. That's basically once your other peas are up, you know, an inch high, then go ahead, plant another row of peas, and by the time you're done picking the first ones off, your second ones, then they'll be ready so you can continue on. And so again, I've tamped this down pretty good, because when you start watering, you don't want to wash the soil and wash the seeds up. So I'll put some stakes and strings once the peas come up. But that one's done. Now we got to get at that one over there. Well, that's what we'll be doing today.